We have an excellent panel again. We have an entrepreneur who was a senior person within corporations in the US, as vice president within the AT&T Global Corporation in the US, who was crazy enough to move to Ethiopia when none of what we're talking about today was actually on the ground, and set up vegetable farms and flower farms. So from a practical on-the-ground point of view, we have somebody who can talk to that. So, of course, I'm speaking about Mr. Daniel Gad, who is to the right of myself. I would like to ask you, to Daniel, where do you see as the major opportunities? We've talked about why it makes sense in a global way, but where do you see the major opportunities in agro-processing, on the ground, lowest hanging fruits, things we can take advantage of almost immediately? And of course, the flip side, we are an emerging, developing country. There has to be a lot of challenges in agro-processing and agro-business. Could you please also mention some of them and let us know where the challenges are as well? So in short, what are the opportunities that you see? What are the major challenges that you see?
These are exciting times. In Africa, there are many opportunities for excitement. You can go on a safari. You can go on a financial excursion to a great place like the beach in Mombasa or Cape Town. But the most exciting place for me is Ethiopia in agriculture. And it's exciting because the world is your oyster in terms of just opportunity in Ethiopia in agriculture. I'm going to mention some opportunities based on the question that Henok has asked me. What do you see as the main opportunities in agriculture? And I'm going to do something I've done maybe 10 years ago during a TEDx talk with some young entrepreneurs in Ethiopia about what is the chance they have as young men and women in agriculture. What can they do to make $1 million birr? And I'm going to change that to $1 million for those of you in this room, because I know you are up to that capacity. Quite shortly and simply, the places where you can make immediate investments for quick returns, for the kind of market that Ato Fitsum talked about that is nearby, and the domestic market. By the way, just import substitution in Ethiopia in grocery items is over $500 million worth of import substitution opportunity. If we look at the larger picture in Ethiopia, just in one category, edible oil is a $400 million substitution opportunity. Do we have edible oil crops that grow in Ethiopia, oil seed crops that grow in Ethiopia? The answer is yes. But we don't process it. So what is the opportunity? Process edible oil crops that are grown here, these oil seed crops that are grown here by millions of smallholder farmers, and make extensive amounts of money in very simple investments in food oil processing. That's a simple thing you can start with today. The next one is something we all like to eat here, is hot sauce. Why are we importing it from Dubai? Do they grow any peppers or chilies in Dubai? And the answer is no. But they know how to collect that, put it into a vat, make it into a sauce, and sell it to us as a sauce, a hot sauce. So here's an opportunity. If you grow chilies and you process them, I guarantee in 6 months you will be in business exporting hot chili sauce under $1 million in investment. There are over 3 million Ethiopian farmers growing chilies, some of the best in the world. We know it because we cook it every day. The chili sauce business is huge. Globally, it's over a $1.5 billion business. We can enter that opportunity. Let me go through some other opportunities that are significant export opportunities that are high value. Horticulture is one. I have enjoyed that business. It's a tremendous opportunity for fresh produce on Ethiopian Airlines to deliver to markets. Secondly, tree crops. Tree crops like almonds, macadamia nuts are growing in Jimma. Yes, they grow in Jimma. They will grow in other parts of Ethiopia. They've been studied. Go meet the people in the research institutes here in Ethiopia, have done the work for many, many years. If you invest less than $1 million in macadamia trees, over 1,000 hectares, your return is over 65% return on investment. With all of the benefits that Ato Fitsum talked about, the tax-free holidays, the access to finance, the ability to bring foreign experts that can help you, expats who can come and work in your company, that's a tremendous opportunity. By the way, global consumption of nut crops is growing faster than supply. And Mars Corporation will tell you that every nut you can grow, they will buy. So there's an opportunity. You don't have to look for a market. You just need to go see how to Fitzum and find a place to grow it and get in business within 4 years. That's how long it takes. Now, some of the crops that we grow in the country, Ethiopia is in the top 10. And I'll mention some crops that I'm sure you never thought about other than coffee and sesame. We are in the top 10 in maize. We are in the top 10. Of course, we're number 1 in teff. Teff in Ethiopia alone is a $580 million piece of business. None of it is going through any industrial park or in a major industrial transformation process. It's very much a small-scale business. You can make other products with teff, and it takes entrepreneurship, some food knowledge, and significant opportunities globally because it's gluten-free, high in proteins and iron. This is something in the nutrition world that is in high demand. Let me go down another crop that we have all ignored, and we even import it in cans. You go to your local supermarket locally, you'll find it as various names. It's chickpeas, shimbra. This is a product that has become a multi-billion-dollar transformed business globally, known as hummus. Hummus and tahina combined are right now in the United States alone a $4 billion business. One corporation, a very large beverage manufacturer, went into this business, $60 million investment. Today, their turnover is over $480 million in just one product called hummus. It's sold in supermarkets. Why? Because it's healthy, and 80% of it is grown right here in Ethiopia. But it goes to Richmond, Virginia. It's processed in a manufacturing plant by an Israeli investor, and it's sold in combination with a branded product by an American company. We have no part in that, but you have an opportunity to do it here. Ethiopian Airlines has over 32 tons of cargo space every day flying into the United States. Take advantage of it. It's a business opportunity. I said I'd do it for less than $1 million. Now, what are the challenges? No investment community is without challenges. In Ethiopia, the reason why investment is not flowing in at the rate that we would like to is a number of things. We have huge amounts of crops that we produce. We have had an easy time selling raw crops as traders and businessmen and women who sell it to the international market and to consumers. Well, guess what? The world is changing. Transformation is where the margins are. And as business people, you'll know, any transaction you make, the higher the margin, the better. If you transform raw crops in Ethiopia with low electricity rates, low wage and labor costs, low land and rental costs, low taxes and tax holidays, you have an immediate impact on your bottom line from just these advantages of over 20 to 30%. You eliminate the cost of transportation, and you have margins and returns that are not achievable anywhere except in maybe investing in banks in Ethiopia. And that's another conversation we can have with our colleagues who have invested in banks in Ethiopia. It's an anomaly anywhere in the world. No banks have made this kind of profit anywhere else in the world. But in agriculture, the opportunity is there because the challenge is there. The challenge is that many investors are not seeing the opportunity because of lack of information. Lack of information. I see some Chinese investors and colleagues here who are in the business world. There is a sesame-based oil that is made in China, sold in the United States. I used to buy it in a small bottle. It's over $6 to $8 in the supermarket. And that is an amazing product where the sesame goes a long distance from Ethiopia to somewhere maybe in China or Japan to be processed into sesame oil. This is a high-value product coming from the majority producer in Ethiopia of sesame. Doesn't get that kind of value. Imagine if you made that oil here, and with AGOA and the United States programs, you could export sesame oil from Ethiopia to the United States at an advantage from any other competitor in the world. You have to think about that. Chili oil, chili sauce, edible oil, and sesame oil are under $1 million investments that you can get the returns on, despite the challenges. The second challenge is that I would ask you to seriously consider is the issue being discussed about lack of foreign currency available in the country. When we started the flour industry, and I was one of the first few, and there are some colleagues here who were also part of that pioneer group that started in the flour industry. When we started out, there literally was no foreign exchange available for us to buy rose plants and seeds and all of the stuff that we had to import. We went to the government as part of the dialogue between the public and the private sector. And we asked, we need a way to make this happen. And they said, what's the program? Well, we want to get the farm started. We want to produce. We need to buy inputs, and we can't get foreign exchange. We got permission to import under specific governmental authority through the access to finance that we have outside the country. We accessed foreign exchange outside the country. So if you're in an industry group and you can create the dialogue with the government, ask for permission to be able to import the inputs you need to run the factory from your access to foreign exchange outside the country. It's a very important notion. We found the government to be open to that discussion because it helped the industry. We went from less than 2,000 employees in the flour industry. Today it's over 70,000 employees. It's also a business that has been valued. The investment in flour business in Ethiopia has been valued in one farm alone at over $280 million by a private equity investment. So there are trade-offs with regard to the challenges. It's a way of figuring out how to make the challenges work given the constraints that the government faces. The most important thing is your entrepreneurship. Can you stop and look at F in a different way than just injera? Okay? Can you think of F as a candy bar, F as a morning cereal, F as a pancake, F as a waffle, F as a cake mix? Need I go on? Take your imagination, and probably your kids will take you there. And you'll find that there is a market because it's gluten-free, highly nutritious, and grown in Ethiopia under very good conditions. Thank you.